no muscle strains. I get up in the morning, like no stiff back, nothing. I never get sick. I mean, literally, never get sick. And if I feel like there's a little something coming on, I'll take like the mega dose. Next day it's gone. I mean, just my overall health is fantastic. And I plan on continue taking this because I'm convinced that it absolutely contributes to your well-being, to your health. It's keeping you healthy. Let your body do what it's supposed to do.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or by going to balanceofnature.com. And make sure to receive this special radio offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning coming up at 7:37. We're going to do our weekly hit with Ted Dabrowski from WirePoint's, Inc. One of the headlines, Illinois lost the most jobs, worst year for jobs in Illinois history in 2020. The hits just keep on coming. Now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
31 degrees at 7:32 and snow showers expected throughout Chicagoland today. A winter weather advisory and warning will expire at 5 p.m. for much of the region. And today, northeast winds gusting as high as 40 miles an hour are cutting visibility. Several schools normally open to learning closed or delayed today, many on e-learning. Senators will be sworn in today as jurors for the impeachment trial against former President Donald Trump. Lead impeachment manager Jamie Raskin.
Donald John Trump, by such conduct, has demonstrated that he will remain a threat to national security, democracy, and the Constitution if allowed to remain in office, and has acted in a manner grossly incompatible with self-governance and the rule of law.
The trial expected to get started the week of February 8. One person is dead, 24 badly hurt after a tornado tears through a suburb north of Birmingham, Alabama, overnight. President Biden says schools must be safe and secure before reopening.
It's not so much about the idea teachers aren't going to work. The teachers I know, they want to work. They just want to work in a safe environment.
Meantime, the president weighs in on the Chicago Teachers Union standoff with the Chicago Public Schools.
We should make school classrooms safe and secure for the students, for the teachers, and for the help that's in those schools maintaining the facilities.
The CTU is refusing in-person learning, a resumption of in-person learning until some type of agreement is hammered out with CPS. 8 new cases of a more contagious COVID-19 variant are being reported in the state. Illinois has now moved into the second phase of its COVID-19 vaccination plan. Phase 1B includes roughly 3.2 million residents. Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle says those waiting for a vaccine need to exercise patience.
While we're excited to be taking these steps, I want to make sure that we set clear expectations. At this moment, not just here but across the country, demand is heavily outweighing our supply of vaccines.
All vaccinations will be done by appointment only. Bulls fell to the Celtics 119-103. Marquise Kennedy 18. Carrying a surging Loyola to a Valley win over Bradley, 65-58. The news, a service of Audible. Make it a year of Audible originals, best-selling audiobooks, popular podcasts, and more. Start listening free with a 30-day trial at audible.com. 7:35, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Almost 4 months ago, Steve Cortez got a call from President Trump to join his re-election campaign for the home stretch. And Steve answered that call and went to battle with TV pundits across the nation to set the record straight. Now, Steve is back.
I'm back!
But he's not done fighting.
And I'm better than ever!
Steve Cortez, weekday afternoons at 5, right before Larry Elder at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
'Cause your opinion don't matter.
Hi, I'm Jim Boyd, here to tell you about an incredible cost-saving opportunity you should consider for your building, office, or facility. For 30 years, Boyd Electric has been a local 134 electrical contractor providing quality service and technology. We help businesses large and small reap the benefits of energy-efficient lighting products. Boyd Electric has retrofitted hotels, big box stores, hospitals, and car dealerships, and is a total solutions provider that can serve your needs anywhere in the country. With our no capital outlay shared savings program, you can get 100% financing with customer payments based on an agreed upon share of realized energy savings. Once the balance is paid off, you own the equipment and retain the energy savings. Our partnership with manufacturers and our association with ComEd's energy efficiency programs provides you access to products and programs designed specifically to make upgrading your lighting plan an affordable cost-saving option. Boyd Electric, the experience to retrofit your business with the finest LED alternatives. Contact me, Jim Boyd, at 708-952-4500.
This is attorney Stephen Leahy. This isn't the first crisis we faced together. Back in 2008, business professionals in trouble sought help from bankruptcy attorneys, loan modification attorneys, foreclosure defense attorneys, and IRS attorneys trying to gain full financial recovery. They should have just called me. Let me tell you about Chuck. His small business crashed in the 2008 crisis. He faced 2 foreclosures, overbearing creditors, and the dreaded IRS. Chuck would not even get out of bed in the morning. His wife heard me on the radio and convinced him to hire me. We got Chuck a loan modification and a short sale. We obtained a discharge of his debt and settled what was left of his IRS liability. Now Chuck is back in business and in control of his life. You can hear Chuck tell his own story at fullfinancialrecovery.com. We can get through this new crisis too. The time to start rebuilding is now. Don't let your life's work go down the drain. Get your free guide to recovery at fullfinancialrecovery.com. That's fullfinancialrecovery.com. Or call me right now at 312-664-6649. There's no time to waste. Fight back now.
Rocket Mortgage is giving away millions during Super Bowl 55 with the Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Squares Sweepstakes. See rules and enter for free at rocketmortgagesquares.com.
7:38. Worried about basement flooding? It's time to call Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL. And in the AM 560 Traffic Center, Jim Telemonte.
Your travel conditions depend on where you are and when. They are changing this morning. We're now seeing a number of crashes in the north and northwest suburbs. There's one in Lake Barrington and 14 West Kelsey. There's one in Waukegan, 132 at Sheridan Road. And there's northwest Indiana. Big jam on I-65 southbound, 109th Avenue to 231 in Crown Point. An overturned semi has 2 left lanes blocked. A toll road crash in Gary, right near the airport exit, cleared. On the inbound Kennedy, your travel time is 24 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 23. Eisenhower, 31 minutes, 390 to downtown. Stevenson, 32 minutes, 355 to the drive. And Ryan, 18 minutes from 95th. That's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. In our AM 560 Weather Center, windy today, snow at times, another inch or 2 accumulation, totals out at 4 to 8 inches, and a high of 33. Cloudy, breezy with more snow overnight, especially the lake effect variety, low of 22. It's 30 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 8. Breaking news as it happens, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
From the Matrix Home Solutions Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, and your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com.
Mike Manokin runs the Democratic House floor for 30-plus years running. He's promising this and he's stealing that. Where can you get that kind of money? He's using your house like his own piggy bank. You ought to know by now. You can pay off your house here in Illinois, but you can never keep up with the taxes. Oh, how it's always been the plan to have a taxpayer pay, no doubt. Not a matter of if anymore, but when. You're moving out. Dun, dun. I said, when you're moving out.
Scott Shalady was ahead of the learning curve. Scott the Cow Guy sitting in for Amy J this morning. You got out.
I got out in 2014.
Yeah. You can hear. I'm not the only one listening to that. Green with envy.
Well, it was untenable. I was paying more in real estate tax than I had made my first year or two out of college. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And we didn't, and basically, if you don't have a mortgage, and we were lucky enough not to have one, you're renting your house back off the government every year.
Yeah, it's collateral for somebody else's pension.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And so I thought, you know what? No more.
Well, perhaps you would have been persuaded if you would have seen more interpretive dance defenses of the way things are from the Chicago teachers as we were treated to over the weekend in defense of their desire to not return to school until they say it's safe. Oh, that song and these topics mean it's time for our weekly install with Ted Dabrowski, president of WirePoint's, wirepoints.com. Ted, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Scott.
Morning.
So let's just start with the moving out theme and the data in that Illinois had its worst year for jobs in its history. 423,000 jobs gone, 7% of its jobs evaporated. Every sector of the state economy except for construction employment, which saw a bit of a surge in December. But nonetheless, you lose 420,000 jobs, 7% of your jobs. Guess what's going to happen? The exodus will continue. And when you have an exodus that leads the nation over the last half a dozen years, as Illinois has, it compounds. And so the prospect of recovery gets exponentially farther away, doesn't it?
Well, that's precisely what happens, because think about it. When people leave, the taxes they pay leave. So your tax base shrinks. The opportunity for companies to hire people shrink, especially if you lose good people, and especially if you lose the people that earn lots of money. They're the most productive. So then companies don't want to invest. Then you have outside companies of Illinois who are saying, I could either invest in Florida, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, or I could invest in Illinois. That was an easy one. And so it just compounds on itself, and it creates a vicious spiral, and that's the one we're in. And you can look at any metric. You can look at demographic metrics, financial metrics. They're all, we're showing a spiral, and it's the bad spiral. It's a death spiral.
There's a lot of celebration, I guess, when the graduated state income tax question was defeated on the November ballot. But that tells me something that I don't think I've heard anybody else acknowledge. Of course, they're not going to acknowledge it. The tax referendum was defeated. So what does that say about the standing of the reputed anti-tax increase party in Illinois? Superminority, has been for a long time, will be for a long time still. So people say the number one reason they're leaving Illinois is taxes. They vote down a graduated state income tax, and the party that ostensibly is the anti-tax party is an irrelevancy. What does that tell Republicans that are, basically brain dead about, number one, what is animating people's votes, and number two, what their standing is in the Illinois electorate's mind?
Well, a couple things there. It does tell you that for the first time, I think, like we said, we celebrated this. For the first time, you saw the overall electorate turn down the machine's, demands. And this was, as we talked about before, this was probably one of the easiest tax hikes to ever pass, right? You've had 97% of the population in a ballot vote pitted against the richest 3%. That, in theory, should have been so easy to pass. And it failed, right? And it failed in a pretty decent way. And the reason why is because I think people finally saw the overall mucky corruption message that's out there. Republicans haven't figured out how to leverage that. They haven't figured out that if you stay persistent, principled, on message, and have a plan, and I've been arguing that they have no plan, then they won't get any credit for what just happened. That's why they'll stay in the super minority, because they don't know how to take a message and a plan, project it, and Rauner was the biggest failure at that. Project it and sell it and be convincing and principled, and and until they do that, they're always going to be in a minority.
Turning our attention to schools, because you and your colleague Mark Glennon wrote about this over at WirePoint's.com. It's not just Chicago Public Schools, they may be getting all the headlines because of their performative dance teachers. But other school systems, including ritzy school systems, where they spend like $28,000 per kid per year, also are beholden to the teachers' union in leafy, well-heeled suburbs like Highland Park.
Yeah, so like you said, Chicago gets all the attention, but this problem of the administrations, the boards, the unions, the teachers. They're powerful everywhere you go in Illinois, and it has to do with the collective bargaining laws that exist in Illinois. But here you've got a place, Deerfield and Highland Park. They spend $28,000 per student to send their kids to school there. It's the 14th highest in the state, and yet they have not stepped in class one day since March 2020. No hybrid, not even attempts of it, not even discussions about it. And so it just shows you how powerful these groups have become. And, all these cases, CTU, Deerfield, they're all making the cases that we need school choice in Illinois in a big, big way.
This is Scott Shelley here, Ted.
Hey, Scott.
My question, I come from a finance background, and a lot of this, again, is common sense to me. And I wonder where your viewpoints are, because you're in it much deeper than I am. But when you are you hold a position of leadership within the state, whether it be in the CTU or in government, and you see the absolute exodus with people running away with their hair on fire, and you look at yourself in the mirror and you think, are they noticing these statistics, which can't be construed any other way, about what's been happening to their, the constituents or customer base, but how do they, and this could be said for California as well, how do they justify what's been happening because of their policies? I don't understand how they can look at themselves in the mirror and make the decisions that they make.
Well, Scott, I don't think they see the people who leave as their customer base. It's almost like good riddance. These are the people that keep getting in the way.
That's probably true. That's good, yeah.
Yeah, and so we talked about that. It's like the political opposition is actually sitting outside the state now, right? We've lost 1.6 million on a net when you add up all the people who move into Illinois and who move out of Illinois. Since 2000, we have lost 1.6 million people. That's the equivalent of, I think, 13th largest cities in Illinois, excluding Chicago. That's and so if a lot of that is opposition, you can see why maybe the people in power just feel empowered to do more. It's working, and they're keeping their base happy. They keep winning lots of votes, so it seems like they're doing it right. They've had supermajorities all along the way. So, why change the method? Now, the thing that's going to screw up their plans is that the finances no longer work. Mm-hmm. And at some point, they won't be able to finance their machine, and that's when the whole thing breaks down. And that's what, in the end, that's what we're waiting for.
Since you raised the specter of school choice, it's worth noting Empower Illinois, empowerillinois.org. This is people who are looking to get out of these government school systems, Politburo-style government school systems. There are scholarships available because of the tax credit that's provided and the raise of up to $100 million a year. And you can devote it on the donor side, you can devote it to a school of your choice for scholarships to a particular school, like your alma mater, or just make a general donation. And parents should be aware of this because it's a way to access funds to get out. Because part of this conversation in the COVID era about K through 12 education is, one, yes, schools reopening. And then two, do I actually want to go back, send my kids back to the schools once they've reopened based on what I'm learning about the schools? And, oh, by the way, what is afoot that will drive curriculum in these government-run school systems? And that brings me to the culturally responsive teaching and learning standards that is making its way into state law.
Yeah, Dan, you're absolutely right. I think what parents are learning everywhere is that they don't have the power, right? Those parents in Deerfield who are paying huge amounts of property taxes don't get listened to, and neither do the kids at CPS, where a lot of them want to be in school, and yet the union says no. So you're finding out that parents that they don't have the power. It's the unions. So now you move on to this new thing where it's all wonky, but it's called the Joint Committee on Administrative Rules. They are basically setting the new teaching and leadership guidelines for teachers. And what they're doing there is they're imposing now on teachers kind of a political, they have to teach under a political progressive type system, and it requires the teachers to meet a political litmus test. And if they don't, they may not be able to become teachers. And this is scary for, I don't care what side of the political aisle you're on, right? You should not want your teachers to be teaching politics to kids.
And the short handle, by the way, on this curriculum is this: you're either an oppressor or you're oppressed. So your kids and all the kids, black, white, Latino, Asian, other, are going to be categorized by their race and gender and orientation as either oppressors or the oppressed. Is that how you want your kids to go through life? Is that what you want your kids to be taught about themselves and about their classmates? That's the curriculum in a nutshell. Let me give you another example of it, just boiled down. The Woke Temple on Twitter had a great way to analogize the anti-racist. You've probably heard this, folks listening. Anti-racist curriculum promulgated by race hustlers like Ibram Kendi, Robin DiAngelo, and others. Here's how it works. I'm for ending cancer. You are either anti-cancer or pro-cancer. My anti-cancer plan involves leeches and bloodletting. You're against my plan? Then you're not anti-cancer, you're pro-cancer. Hey, everybody, this guy's pro-cancer. That's how it works. Nobody is proposing racism, or very few people are. Actually, the people that are teaching anti-racism are the racists because they want to count by race. But the kids are being taught that there's no such thing as not being racist. You're either racist or you're anti-racist. And if you disagree with their plan for how to be an anti-racist, and their plan is apologize for the rest of your life as an oppressor, because I've designated you as such, if you disagree, then you're a racist, you're not anti-racist, and then you're ostracized. Hey, everybody, look over here. This person's a racist. Do you understand? That is what's being taught at like the kindergarten level up. And I just don't think, even still, with everything that's happened on college campuses over the last 40 years and what's happening in K-12 school systems and all of the examples bubbling up to the surface and the diversity training debate because of Trump's executive order and now Biden's executive order unwinding, I don't think people writ large have a real sense of just the sort of poison that is being taught in the classroom in K-12 systems around this state and country.
Hey, Dan, you said all that very well. Let me just add to that, because this is the big problem. While they're teaching all these new progressive policies, what they're not doing is teaching math and reading. And if you look at the state stats, 62% of Illinois students across the state don't meet English language standards. 68% of all kids don't meet the math standards. I didn't mean like they're on average, or they don't meet. And so what you're doing is you're taking up time. We want our kids to learn how to do math and read and be successful in the world, not to be politicized or not to be indoctrinated. And I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, because today it might be the things you like your child to be indoctrinated on, but tomorrow it might be a different leadership being indoctrinated in a different way, and you shouldn't want it either way. I mean, that's the whole point, is that nobody should want this. I don't care if you're the left or the right. And what people should do, those who feel strongly about this, should reach out to JCAR. It's a JCAR at ilga.gov. One more time, JCAR at ilga.gov.
Yeah, and also contact your local, useful idiot state legislator and tell them that you're opposed to this too, and that you're going to be watching what they do, I suppose. I mean, I don't think it's going to make any difference. I hate to be fatalistic about it, but I just look at the numbers and the power imbalance and what people understand to be true about what's going on, and it's just an insular minority that has their heads on straight. I'm sorry to say.
Well, Dan, there's one more thing, and this is I have to see how constitutional this new rule is, but it compels teachers to teach certain things or to say certain things that they may not want to, and that can easily be challenged under constitutional laws, that they're being compelled to say something they don't want to.
He is Ted Dabrowski, the president of WirePoint's Inc., WirePoint's.com. Ted, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Join us on the turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/news. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who